I guess firstly you could introduce yourself to anybody that will be listening.
All right. Hey, I'm Billy Pollard. I am an artist, musician, author from Hatboro, Pennsylvania, which is, I don't know, I guess like a half hour from Philadelphia, because nobody probably knows where Hatboro is. And I've been doing music and art since I can remember, probably 4 years old. Not music at 3, 4 years old, but always drawing. Um, just I just always had to do something creative. I don't know, it's just something I had to do.
So when did you first start making music? Do you remember like when that started?
When I first started making like actual songs, like when I was a kid, like a real young kid, I'd be like singing in the yard and doing stuff like that and making little songs in my head. But it wasn't until I was probably, I would say, 12 when I started like actually trying to write songs, which was a little more difficult for me because I'm left-handed. So I used to take my older brother's acoustic guitar and like play it upside down incorrectly, and um, which is part of the reason why I'm not even that good of a guitar player today, because I never really formally learned how to play guitar. I'm all self-taught. Um, and then it wasn't until I was like 17 when I got my first actual left-handed guitar for Christmas. My dad got me a Yamaha acoustic left-handed, and that's when I started actually trying to really play. But yeah, I guess 12 years old is when I first started fiddling with guitar and writing songs.
I know that being left-handed is like a challenge in like a lot of fields. Like my roommate's an artist and she's a lot of like drawing tablets and stuff, and like those spiral notebooks aren't really built with like left-handed people in mind. So it's like it's always a
No, it's
challenge, like an
weird.
adjustment. Yeah.
It's like you're the redheaded stepchild. Like I went into the guitar store a couple weeks ago to get my guitar repaired. It was making like a buzzing sound, and I could have fixed it on my own, but I was just lazy, so I brought it in and like just like looking at the guitars for fun. And there were two left-handed guitars, like all the guitars hanging in the store, two left-handed guitars.
Yeah, you're the second-class citizens is the left-handed people, the
You are.
lefties.
I mean, there are, and it's weird because the thing with being left-handed is they always say that they're more creative. So a lot of artists and musicians are left-handed, like Kurt Cobain, Paul McCartney, Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
They're all left-handed, and when I watch TV and actors and stuff, like whenever they're writing or drawing, like I pick up immediately. I'm like, oh, that person's left-handed. Like, so a lot of creative types are left-handed. So it's weird that there wouldn't be more out there.
Like manufacturing and stuff, like companies, shareholders, they're thinking about profits first and foremost, and
Of
like
course,
most people
yeah,
are right-handed, so they're just like, well,
yeah,
make it for right-handed people.
yeah. Because I mean, they still say like 1 out of 9, which seems low to me. Because maybe I'm just more in tune to it, but I notice left-handed people. But 1 in 9 seems really low.
Yeah, I mean, 1 in 9 seems really low, but that still makes up like fucking like so many people.
Right? Yeah, yeah. You're right.
I'm curious about your visual art, as you've animated a few of the music videos in Flipnote, and the music video for Seahorses features like 2D animation overlaid onto IRL footage, and you've illustrated a few children's books. You mentioned that you've been drawing as far back as you remember. What are some of your visual inspirations and influences?
I guess just I was just always drawn to, like, when I'd go to the library, I would get out books, but I never got it for the story. It was always like, are the illustrations cool? Like, and I would just make up like the story for it in my mind and just look at the pictures. Obviously, like the the obvious like influences are like where the wild things are and that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of like, I was even influenced by Mark Brown, like who did Arthur and Dr. Seuss. But I mean, that those are just because I can name them and remember who they were. But I'm sure there are like you know, a buttload of other artists who you probably never heard their names that I don't recall, that visually impacted me as a child.
Hmm.
Um, or Frog and Toad. I can't remember the author's name for that series, but that was a big one for me.
Yeah, Frog and Toad's
Um,
classic.
yeah, it's so good. I mean, even today, like I look at those illustrations and the little lines that he writes, and just so good, so funny, and so cute.
Is that
But
Arnold
yeah, and it
Logan?
was always Arnold. Yeah, there you go. I
Yeah.
knew it was an A. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so that was a big one for me. Um, but then like stuff like the real Ghostbusters and the Beetlejuice cartoon, and you know Tim Burton before he sucked, and um, just I could go on and on and on. Being born in the '80s and growing up in that time, like it was just like all entertainment was awesome. Like so everything was influential and cool to look at, and it's all just a melting pot of everything that I grew up watching and listening to and reading.
So, a lot of like children's books and like animation and stuff. Do you remember like were the Flipnote animations like the first time that you had attempted to animate anything, or did you try like earlier
Yeah.
than that? Oh, so that was the first time.
I mean, when I was a young kid in school, because I didn't pay attention in school, all I did was goof off and draw. I was voted, best sense of humor and class clown for middle school and high school. So that'll give you a little
Gotcha.
idea of, how seriously I took school. But, I did the traditional like, index cards. Put a bunch of index cards together and try to do, a little flip book.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but it never really worked out because I didn't really know like the ins and outs of animation. Like I just thought like, you draw some pictures and it comes to life, but it's a lot more complex than that. But with the Flipnote um, animations, it was like I got the Nintendo DS and it came with that Flipnote Studio. So obviously I would just play around with that and make little dinky like 2 second animations, like a guy, his head exploding or something like that. But it wasn't until I like really sat down and storyboarded something out and was like, okay, I want to do a full music video. That was like my first attempt at actual animation. And even that in itself, if you look at my animated videos, they're all essentially like um animated images. Like I don't know if you remember Dr. Katz, that
Yeah, yeah. I
show
love
on
Dr. Katz.
Comedy Central. They called it squiggle vision because it was like barely any movement, but it was always constantly moving.
Mm-hmm.
So it looked like wiggly. So that's what like a lot of my videos are. So even when there's a still image of like a character holding something or looking, it's constantly wiggling because I draw the image over top of it more than once and then repeat it. So it like is on a loop of like squiggly. So that helps fill in the void of my lack of animation skills. Because if it was just a stagnant image of like the creature or the characters just looking or holding something, it would be very boring. So the squiggle
Yeah,
vision
yeah.
gives it makes it feel like movement even when there's not movement. So it's essentially just an animated storyboard,
It's pretty
if
interesting
that makes
because
sense.
yeah, no, absolutely. It's pretty interesting because like stuff like Dr. Katz and home movies like that has the squiggle vision,
Right,
like
home movies, yeah.
the pacing of like a chill like comedy series which is mostly like just conversationally based, and
Mm-hmm.
like a music video kind of like have similar like not tones but like I guess energy levels where you're not having to animate like fight scenes or like anything crazy. So that makes
Right,
sense to me.
right.
That I like that comparison to Dr. Katz. That's very cool.
You brought up home movies, and I was actually going to reference that, but I was like, he's probably never heard of that show, but
Oh
I
yeah,
was
no.
wrong. Obviously, you did. But they got lazy and they stopped doing the squiggle vision, like when it moved to a different network, and it just seemed boring somehow.
I don't think I
Like it
saw the
didn't look right.
later
Because
seasons.
yeah,
That sucks.
because all animation today is just like flat flash. Like I hate it. I hate it so. I'm a purist. Like yeah, you can do things digitally and still make them look or feel more like classic animation. But today it's like they're just so lazy. There's barely any like shade and shadow, and like I hate Family Guy so much. I think that was the start of the downfall of animation. And The Simpsons even followed suit because they're basically just like a yellow Family Guy now. Like it just looks terrible,
Yeah, The
and that's
Simpsons
not
is
to
just
mention how
depressing
awful the
now.
writing is. Yeah, I mean now it's crazy to think how a show like one of my all-time favorite shows still to this day only really technically there are 10 years that are good, like, and it's almost going on, it's like 40th season or something crazy, coming up, or I think 37. It came out when I was in kindergarten.
Yeah, no, it's. I tell my roommates all the time, like we talk about like animation and stuff, and the big three adult cartoons still are just like Family Guy, The Simpsons, and South Park. And I still have a fondness for South Park, even though they're kind of hit and miss. And Family Guy
Yeah,
is
but
like,
they
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say South Park benefits from always sort of being what it is. Like it was that, crappy cardboard
Yeah,
cutout
visually,
animation,
it's
which
still
I'm
basically
sure
the
now it's
same.
digital, but they probably replicate it digitally. So it didn't suffer from the same thing that The Simpsons did. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
100%. Because it still visually is like going for the same thing, and it's got a unique visual style which helps it greatly, and it's probably a big reason why it's my favorite out of the three. But Family Guy is
hmm
is like funny because it has kind of like a revulsion for its audience. Like it's purposefully trying to make as many people upset
it
as
just seemed,
possible.
but it seems to purpose. Even though South Park does the same thing, I feel like there is an intelligence there, whereas Family Guy is just like, for me, it's just like lowest common denominator, like just, and it's just like constantly like, hey Lois, remember the time, and there's just a stupid clip, and oh, I hate it. I hate the character designs. I guess if Seth MacFarlane was a good artist, I could stomach it, but
Yeah.
he's such a bad artist and character design. Like it's terrible. I hate it. Makes me
It's
angry. Sorry, I get real heated up about stupid stuff.
that's the best thing to get heated up about, absolutely. But I've always told my roommates like The Simpsons has just been nothing for like the longest time, like longer than it was
Awful.
ever anything, unfortunately.
I'll try to watch like a new episode, like because I'm still like when there's a Christmas special or Halloween special of any type of show, I'm more uh, inclined to check it out. Just because I love like holiday specials, and
Okay.
I'll go and watch the new like Treehouse of Horror that comes out each year, and I'm just like I can't even stomach. It's so bad. Like oh my god, and it's like the thing is like The Simpsons has got so fantastical. Is that a word?
Yeah,
That
fantastical.
like even the Halloween specials don't seem any different than the regular ones because the regular shows are so over the top now. Like it's not like reality based anymore, whereas the original series was more just based on writing and story as opposed to like Homer going like, you know, I don't know, I can't even think of anything off the top of my head, but it's awful.
It's a
Just
lot
so
less
so bad.
grounded. Yeah, it's just kind of like whatever ideas they throw at the wall, it
Yeah.
seems.
And the Halloween ones aren't even like horror related anymore or spooky related. It's all just like, whatever flavor of the month pop culture thing is going on, they'll try to include it.
Yeah, it's just kind of embarrassing, like out of touch constantly. Um,
And it just I just saw it got renewed for another 3 seasons.
oh
So
yeah, it's gonna outlive you and me.
yeah, probably. Yeah. And the
Oh,
voice actors have changed.
oh,
Like
they're
I'm not a
so
very
old. I,
politically
I
correct
just feel bad
person.
for them.
It's just I don't get the whole like, Hank Azaria can't do a poo anymore and stuff like that. It's like I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's a mess, all of it.
Like they're actors. That's what they're doing. They're playing roles of characters that they aren't. If they weren't, then they'd just be playing themselves.
It would have been
I
fine
don't
if
know.
they replaced Apu's voice actor with like a different guy, but they just kind of like executed the character. They just took him out back and
I haven't
revealed
even
it.
really heard it, but
He
I
doesn't
heard.
exist anymore.
Oh, he doesn't.
No, the
Oh,
character is
I
just
heard Lenny
gone. Yeah.
or Carl. I've heard Carl. He sounds terrible. I haven't heard Dr. Hibbert. I'm sure he's a different actor. Yeah, it's just terrible.
Well, you did mention a second ago that the '80s, like to you, that was when you felt like all of the like media and TV shows and stuff were good. Your YouTube channel is a very interesting little look into your personality. You very clearly have a lot of loves for the '80s and '90s with stuff like Chucky and Married with Children. What's
Yeah.
special about that era specifically to you, besides like it being like what you grew up with?
Well, it's like I'm sort of getting actually annoyed with how everything is like 80s throwback, 90s
Oh,
throwback
dude,
because
yeah.
I think people are realizing that they're agreeing with how I feel that like entertainment was just better before because otherwise why would they keep throwing it back to different past eras like literally everything that comes out is either a period piece set in the 80s or 90s or it's like an animation that's trying to be like old school or something like that but um
Or it's a reboot of
yeah I
something
just
from that era.
a reboot or a sequel, right, exactly, that's where I was trying to think of a sequel like 30 years later. um I just think I mean obviously a lot of it has to do with nostalgia for me because someone older than me they're going to be
Oh, it
more
was real
more of a
good in the
soft spot for
'70s.
right and I just think but I do partially agree with them. I just think everything from like 2000 and earlier is better than today. Like I
Hmm.
just think it is. Like I just think people cared more. It was stuff was less like so mass produced, so it took artists and people who really believed in the project that they were making, and that results in a better film or movie or piece of music. It was better. And like I'll watch movies, horror movies today, and like when stuff is too tech involved, like kids with cell phones and characters, on social media, I don't know, I can't relate to it as much, and it dates it more for me than like a movie that uses like an old Apple computer, like if that makes any sense. I don't know how, but it just does.
I think I understand. Yeah, I mean, because it feels like when you're watching a movie or a television show or something, you feel like you are somewhat being transported into like the experience of the what the characters are doing on screen. So like when you see a kid like with a fucking iPhone on the new Teen
Yeah.
Titans or whatever, then you feel like you've lost your, I guess, immersion a little bit. Yeah, I get that.
How old are you? I was born in 84.
95. I turned 30 in a few weeks.
Okay. Okay. So like I just made it out of the generation that didn't have cell phones. Like yeah, a couple kids had like the rich kids had cell phone in high school, but like we didn't have all that stuff. So I like just got out there and I'm grateful for that cuz as much as I would like to be younger again, if it meant being young in this era, I would not want to do that. Like I would only be young again if I could go back in time.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't want to be a kid in the current time. I mean, I especially feel bad for like kids that like were like in middle school and high school or even younger like when COVID hit and then like they were doing school at home for a few
Yeah,
years.
that's
Like
bizarre.
it's been so nuts, man. Like like
I can't even
younger
think of
kids
something like that happening.
I know, it's crazy. I feel like a lot of like the younger generation, like people a bit younger than me, have kind of like forgotten how to like socialize and like how to have like tact. Like I don't know if you go to shows still or anything, but going to like music shows, like concerts and stuff, is a nightmare now because every kid, like every kid has like main character syndrome and their goal is to be like the funniest guy like at the show. So like
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of bands like like there's a band that I used to like a lot called Death Grips, and they retired completely because of the way that people were behaving at their shows. Like people were throwing stuff at them and just very disrespectful. I think COVID just broke a lot of people's brains. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think we're still seeing the
I
effects
mean,
of it.
well, I always say that today it's fashionable to be an asshole, and
It is.
it really is, and I think that's the problem, and we reward people by view counts and likes and sharing, that people don't care how awful they are as long as they're getting seen.
Especially on websites like Twitter, which after the SpaceX guy bought it, now you are literally financially incentivized to be an asshole. The more
Yeah,
inflammatory you
absolutely.
are, the more money you get, which is ridiculous. Just a microcosm of what you were just talking about, where it's fashionable to be an asshole. Now it's financially viable to be an asshole. You can make it your
And I
career.
just think like they're so used to that they're also unaware when they're being rude. Like I'm a school van driver,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids that I drive, they're nice kids. I mean, it's a private school that I pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like we're in this van and they're all listening to their phones, like, and they have earbuds. Why the frick aren't they like using their earbuds? Like, I want to say something, but I don't feel like, because who knows if they say something to their parents, and today, like, when a parent gets mad, like,
Oh yeah,
that's the
yeah,
end. But
yeah. They're gonna
so
publicly
it's just like
execute
I
you if
want to
you
be
say
like,
anything.
yeah, and they'll like leave their AirPods or buds or whatever they're called, like, on the seat, like, and it so like they have them, so like I just don't understand, like, how do you not hear that you're competing over each other's, like, devices, and I have the radio on because I put my music on, and it's just like, what the hell?
We live in interesting times for sure. I'm curious to see how the next generation is gonna behave. So what was the story behind like the first album? Like what drove you to make it and like to choose the name The Ghost in You? I assume it's the psychedelic first song where you got the name.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, word. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I just always liked the title of that song, and well, let me start over.
Go
I
ahead.
was in a band. Um, I was the lead singer, rhythm guitarist. Um, we were called the Estate. It was like it. I had wanted the sound to be more like indie, but it came out in that, like, early 2000s, because it was like 2003, 2004. So
Mm-hmm.
um, when you're in a band, it's like having like four girlfriends at once. So it's like you kind of have to, like, argue and compromise, and bring out your ideas, and it's a very combative atmosphere. So the sound was more. It became more like that, like early 2000s. I cringe at the word emo, that type of music.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it wasn't exactly emo, but I guess it in that time, I guess it was. But my vocals were more like scratchy scream, not like like that. I don't
Like
even know what they
emotional
call that.
hardcore kind of like
I mean, post hardcore, like, I don't know. I wanted to sound like Sparta. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like the
yeah,
fall of Troy kind of.
I heard of them. I don't know them, but anyway. So our later stuff did end up sounding more like that, but we never had the time to record
Hmm.
the songs. But yeah, we recorded two EPs. I always wanted to wait until we had an album's worth, but my bandmates were always so eager to get into the studio and record stuff. Um, I think I was in that band for like 4 or 5 years or something like that, and I just finally quit and stopped doing it. And I was always playing acoustic guitar in my room on my own and writing songs. And I was like, that was when I finally sat down to actually record those songs on more than just pressing record on, like, a tape recorder. I had a 4-track cassette recorder, and I started recording full songs. And I figured, since I was gonna start recording, that I should have a name, because I never liked, like, when someone's just called, like, their name, like Dave Matthews Band or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I just thought having a name represent my music sounded cooler than just Billy Pollard. So um, basically, it's like a band without the band. So I just always loved the psychedelic first song, "The Ghost in You," and the title of that song just always stuck with me, and I just stole it. So use that as the moniker for my music, and it just stuck. luckily no one had it. I think there's a
Yeah.
band called the Ghost of You or something like that, but I think they came out after.
Well, you beat him to the punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, when you go on like Last FM, like it's just you on that page. I don't think there's any like other artists that are like competing for the URL space. Like it's just your pictures on there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
so I
yeah, go
started
ahead.
recording those songs, and I guess it was like 2006 is when I started recording them, and it wasn't until 2008 that I had like enough for an album,
Mm-hmm.
and some indie, super, super, super indie label um, said they would release my album, and then there was like a disagreement about something. I guess I'm very hard headed when it comes to like my art and music, or uncompromising. I
It's
forget
important to
what
be
they
that way.
wanted me to do. I think so. I forget what they wanted me to do, and I think they just got annoyed with me, and they just didn't release the which is a similar thing what happened with my books. But if we get to that,
We'll get to
um,
that. Yeah, definitely.
so I didn't release the album until 2 years later in 2010. Um, well, it was good because the label actually mastered the tracks for me. So I had the mastered tracks. I didn't have to pay to get them mastered. And since they dropped me, I had their mastered tracks.
That rocks.
And then I released it on Apple or iTunes.
Yeah, yeah, it was called iTunes back then.
So that yeah, so I did it that way, and then started recording the next one on GarageBand because the first one, like you said, it was on 4-track cassette, and I got my first iPad in 2010, and then downloaded GarageBand, played with that, and that's how I've done music ever since.
When did you first notice like people listening? Like when did you first was it with the Flipnote animation videos?
I always had like a super, super small fan base. Even today, I still like my Instagram. I have over like 13,000 posts. They're not all music and art, obviously. Like you said, my YouTube. You said I have like a lot of
A lot
like
of
different
interests
stuff on
and
there.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, that's what my Instagram actually started off as just the music. And I didn't want to do it. I was like, I don't want to do it. But my friend Kevin was like, no, you should do it. It helps. And,
It
it'll
does,
get your
yeah.
music out there. Well, that's what he said. But I mean, I guess it has helped, but it hasn't helped in the sense of what I thought it would. But so I was like, I'm not fucking doing it. It's stupid. I have Facebook. I don't need this, MySpace, I got it. So he actually controlled it for like the first year, and posted as me. Like when I'd release a new song or something, he would post it on there. But then I eventually took over, and then it just became all things me, like anything in my life, stupid, flea market finds and grocery store items, and now it's just everything. But so I still only have like 2,000 followers on there, and even when I'm shared by bigger audiences and profiles with big draws, it's still for some reason I think I'm like shadow banned or something. Um,
I don't know how
and the people, no,
Instagram
I'm
works, but
serious.
I do hear that, yeah.
Yeah. So like I'll post something and it won't get seen. It just or heard or whatever it is. But
Hmm.
yeah, I guess I always had a small fan base on MySpace and Facebook, and um, I guess it wasn't until um, I don't know. I really can't remember when the time was when I thought people were listening. I'd occasionally get emails like, "Hey, this is blah 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 from New Zealand. I love your stuff." I'm like, "Wow, my stuff is reaching like all over the world." It's pretty cool,
It is
but
very cool.
it's still small potatoes. Like it's really just nothing. Like my audience is very 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 small.
Yeah, yeah.
But when
Yeah.
I did that first Flipnote video, because like I told you, I love animation and stuff. I used to read this website every day called Cartoon Brew, and um, I had emailed the guy on there. I think his name is Jerry Beck. He's like
Hmm.
an animation historian. He's been on like Popeye DVD commentaries and things like that. But he posted my video, and like immediately, like that, it got like 10,000 views in like a couple hours, and then Nintendo found out about it and contacted me, and offered to pay for me to take an Amtrak to New York City and be on their show Nintendo Week when they had the Wii.
Wow,
Um,
really?
when the Wii, yeah. So there was this show called Nintendo Week, which was like, I guess it would be like what Nintendo Direct is today.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and it was hosted by like this blonde girl and this guy, and um, so that was like, I remember thinking, this is 2010. I'm like, wow, like taking the train with my girlfriend at the time, like to New York. I'm like, this is it. This is gonna be my break, And the video got like 100,000 views, but nothing really ever changed. My growth in fans didn't grow or anything. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's very disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It was a fun
difficult.
experience. It was really
No,
fun.
it sounds awesome. I didn't know that you were contacted by like Nintendo of America and you got to be on their show.
Yeah,
That's sick.
and I was in Nintendo Power, which was really cool because that was like a magazine I read when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, that would have been like before they disbanded. That's crazy. Yeah. Cuz they
Yeah,
stopped
yeah.
in like 2013 or 2014 or something. I don't remember
Yeah, this,
exactly.
and it was awesome because it was the holiday. I think it was the 2011 holiday issue, which is like the big issue with with Link on the cover.
That's sick.
So it was
Yeah.
like, it was awesome, and it was only in the back, and it was just like screenshots of the flip note and a little tiny paragraph. But it was awesome to go to the grocery store and pick it up.
Yeah, that no, I mean, hey, like here I am.
Yeah, it was
That's
awesome.
cool. Oh man, I wish I was still reading Nintendo Power at that time. It would have been
I
sick to see
have
you
the
in there.
scans. I can send them to you.
Yeah, send me the scans later if you
I
remember
will.
that.
I
That'd be
will. Yeah.
sick. Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It is difficult to break out online. I think there's this there's this guy I've been following online for a while that does like video game reviews, and he described it as like, how did he describe it? He described it as like throwing a message in a bottle out into an ocean that's just messages in bottles, and like
That's a good analogy.
yeah,
Yeah.
just the likelihood that you'll get anywhere with anything is it's so low, but it does
It's luck.
happen. It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is luck. Yeah, I've been making music for a while too myself. Since 2011 or 2012, and
Hmm.
also to no audience until I started doing this YouTube stuff, and people have found the music through that. But it's there's something kind of freeing about making stuff like to the void a little bit, I guess. But I know you don't want to hear that right
I
now.
guess so. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to, because I know like that the majority of artists out there, like true artists, I'm not talking about like Instagram artists and
Hmm.
and kids today who just want to be famous for no reason, but like I think for most real artists, they create because they have to create, like it's in their blood, they have to do it.
Yeah.
And that is a part of me, but for the most part, I always created in any respect, whether it's trying to crack a joke in school and make friends laugh. I've always made a song or a piece of art for it to be seen or heard by as many people as possible. So when I, pour my heart and soul into a piece of music or a full book, and it only gets like, I'm doing air quotes here, liked or viewed by like 12 people on my Instagram, like it's very depressing, and it's part of the reason why I don't create as much today, like at all.
Yeah. It's discouraging. It's
Absolutely.
it's unfortunate. Well, if you were able to choose, which song of yours do you think like you feel the proudest of, or like is your favorite?
Hmm.
That's a hard question.
It is a hard question, which also makes it sound like you're thinking that all your songs are great, but it's like, um,
They are all great.
which is not the case. Oh, thanks.
Well, all the ones you've
Um,
published under this name, I do think are fantastic. Yeah.
well, thanks. I appreciate that a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know, at least on my Instagram, it seems in social media, it seems that the fans seem to love my my single called October,
Oh yeah, was that on
which is
Wetwood
just,
or on the latest one?
no, that's not on an album.
Oh,
It's
okay.
after the third album. Yeah, it'll hopefully be on a fourth album should I ever complete it, which I need to write two more songs, which I as I told you, I'm a self-taught lefty. I can't read music, and I've sort of gotten to a point where I can't really play guitar any more than I have. So like I'm having writer's block. But anyway,
I get that.
um, yeah. So that's a single that never was on an album, and people seem to like really like that one the most. But for me, I guess in terms of meaning, like special meaning, I would
Hmm.
say 1031, my song about Halloween. Um, that one probably for me as a whole, with I'm including the music video that I shot for it. The song and video, that's probably what I'm most proud of. And you know, as I said, I record everything myself, so the song is recorded by me, the instrumentation, the lyrics, the vocals, everything. I produced it myself, I released it myself, and then the music video, I shot it all myself with just a little digital camera. And um, my childhood friend Brett is playing. There's like a Grim Reaper, like a guy in a vintage Halloween costume in the music video, and it's just imagery of fall and leaves. And um, I'm just real proud of it because like I did everything myself, and um, it's just special to me because Halloween was always really special to me as a kid. And my mom had just passed away, like not before the song was recorded, but before the video came out. So like the video is just pictures of like me as a kid around Halloween and my mom dressed as a witch, and just the whole thing as a whole. That's the my favorite thing that I ever did, I think. And it was a very simple concept, like because when you're just doing something by yourself, you're limited as to what you can do, which is another reason I did animated videos because I couldn't find anyone who could like film a video for me. But yeah, so the idea was just real simple, just a trick or treater walking around, and then pictures like laying in the grass from my childhood.
Hmm.
And even the costume itself was like I wanted like a true vintage Halloween skeleton mask, but I didn't have the time to find one on like eBay or like scour yard sales and thrift stores. So I actually ended up making the vintage mask, like so it's and at the time I was bummed out that it wasn't a true vintage mask, but now when I watch it now, it's like you look at it and you don't think it's not a vintage mask, but it's like you've never seen it before because it's original only to that video. So it's sort of like nostalgic yet new.
Yeah, I like that. My personal favorite of yours is I think Double Word Score, which I think was the second track on the first album.
Okay.
I've always felt like it was a song that I could like relate to, like the refrains on the first album are one of my favorite parts of your songs and of that album. And and I'm washing in your ocean. That
The
one.
end chorus,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The end refrain like always like hit me the hardest because like I've been in relationships like that are like overwhelming and like drowning like that. So thank you for putting that type of like hard to describe experience in such a like poetic, compelling, and beautiful way. Is there any
Well,
like
thanks, man.
yeah,
I never
absolutely.
hear about that song either. That's like sort of like a what they call like a deep cut
Yeah, it's
because
a
no one
deep
ever
cut.
like
Yeah,
talks
no,
about that
no.
one.
I'm a real head. I listen I listen to the full albums, bro, not just the singles.
You're a true fan, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I know that there were a couple of like ending choruses, as you put it, like on the later albums. But it was like every song on the first album has like an ending chorus, like an ending refrain that I think I like love that. I really love that. Was there like a reason for that, like when you were making that album, or was it just like what seemed like the
No,
most like end song?
other than my lack of, like I said, musical ability, like, and I'm not like one of these people who's like downplaying. Like I'm not like you know, Eddie Van Halen being like, yeah, I'm not really that great at guitar. Like, I'm really a shitty guitar player. I'm self-taught lefty. I can't read music, and like many of my songs are literally two notes back and forth. And it's, for me, my talent is in my vocal melodies. Like,
Mm-hmm.
because if you just played my music by itself, you'd fucking shoot yourself. Like, you'd be so bored. Like, it's the vocals and the lyrics and the melody that I sing on top that make it a song. And I think that's just what I can write. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's just that's all I'm really able to do.
I don't
So
know
it's
if
like,
you listen to a lot of like punk music, but I think that there's like a parallel there between like there's something very punk about the first album,
well, I
even
was gonna
though.
bring up the Ramones.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, hey, if the Ramones can, make one song, over and over and over again, then it's okay with me. So,
Absolutely, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. There's beauty in simplicity, I think.
but which is why I haven't released the fourth album yet, because I'm getting to a point where like I'll be playing a song or trying to write. And I'm like, oh, this sounds good. I'm like, wait a minute, this is just the other song that I just wrote. Like, because I only know so many notes, like, and I really don't know that many.
You gotta pull out like a couple experimental ideas. Then you gotta go crazy for those last two songs. Try
Yeah,
something different.
just digital. Yeah.
I get that though. It sucks when you're making an album and you're like, fuck, I'm stuck on this like this barrier that I can't get
Yeah, and I
past.
guess I just gotta not push myself. Like, because it's been, my last album came out in 2016, so it's not like
Yeah,
I'm in a rush.
it's been almost a decade. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I recently released a new song out of nowhere. Like, I didn't even play my guitar for like 2 years, but I picked it up and a song came out, and it's one of my favorite songs that I've written. So,
Which one?
I guess it's called "God Forgive Me."
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's Yeah, the video is just like a dark street, like driving in my car, like.
Yeah, that one was good. I liked that one. What would you say like I mean you're working on the album right now. And you've dabbled in like lots of different like mediums. Tell me like the story behind like the children's books. Like how did that get
Okay.
started? I know you mentioned that you're like a school van driver, so you're around kids. I don't know if you have kids yourself.
No, 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 no kids.
But is that like where the idea for like making a children's book came from?
No, the idea just came from always wanting to do it since I was a kid myself.
Okay, yeah.
Like looking at these books in the library, and scary stories to tell in the dark, and just where the wild things are. Like I mentioned before, like I just always dreamed of making my own children's book. And I guess as a little kid, I attempted to do it. Like I would draw a picture and then like a bunch of pictures and staple them together, and on construction paper and that kind of thing. But I never really had a story, which is the main thing. Like I was talking about my first music video, it didn't come into fruition until I storyboarded out an idea. It's like you
Mm-hmm.
can't just go into like I'm gonna write a book. Like you have to
You gotta have like
construct
an
it,
outline.
piece by piece. Yeah. So, um, but I wasn't motivated to do it until my dad was moving to Chincoteague, Virginia Island with my stepmom. Like I would guess like 7 years ago or something like that. And
Okay.
excuse me. And he's like, you got to get your stuff out of the storage in the apartment, because Peg and I are moving,
Mm-hmm.
stepmom. Um, so I went over to get some stuff, and there was like these just like envelopes, like pieces of junk mail that I guess I had doodled on and thought to save and put in a box. And they were just these characters, which were of like this ghost girl and then this like skeleton boy. And I guess I don't know, they stuck with me and I kept them. So I drew them like on my iPad on Procreate, all based off of those like little sketchy designs. And posted it on Instagram, like, hey, these characters are really cool. I always thought they were kind of like ripe for a children's book, but I wish I knew how to go about that and someone could help me. And Bloody Disgusting, I don't know if you know that website.
I think I've seen it
They're
just
like,
really because of you.
well, they also like produce like movies, and like if you ever like see like a trailer, sometimes it'll be like the scariest thing I've ever seen, Bloody Disgusting, you know. So they're like, you know, a horror publication, and they contacted me on Instagram, and we're like, hey, we want to get into print publication, and this would be great as our first print publication. And I was just like over the moon. Like, this was like when Nintendo told me they were gonna, you know, pay for me to take an Amtrak to New York and be interviewed. I was like, this is it. Like, yes, my dream, you know. And I worked on it for like 6 months, and I would like bounce, you know, the pages off of them, and the guy who I was talking to would be like, we love it, this is great, blah blah blah. And like when the book was like almost complete, the guy had like contacted me and said like, I wonder, like, do you think like mentioning death is like too like dark for kids and blah blah blah? And I was like, I think you're underestimating children. Like, you know, we grew up, I was assuming the guy was my age, just like, we grew up with like scary stories to tell in the dark and like real dark kind of stuff. And I don't think it like scarred us. I think it was like fun. And my children's book is like extremely tame. It's like
No, it's super.
very, very,
Like, there's nothing
it's
objectionable
cutesy.
about it. Yeah, it's very
No,
cutesy.
no. But the fact that I mentioned the word dead or death in the book, he questioned, and I just like kind of wouldn't let it go because for one, I thought he was wrong, and two,
Yeah.
it would mean that I would have to rewrite like whole rhymes over because, like, you know, it had to rhyme with what I had written. And I guess the same way that that indie record label for the first album, they just got annoyed with me, and he just said, like, he sent me an email saying that they were gonna like pull out and decline, and you know, good luck and best of luck. And I was like devastated. Like I I was gonna say I think I cried, but I did cry.
Oh.
It was like really really heartbreaking because I didn't know what to do, and I just thought, okay, this thing that I worked 6 months of my life on is just gonna get shelved, and no one's ever gonna see it. Um, and then I went onto like Kindle Direct Publishing's like forum, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I posted like, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm trying to self publish this, but it's not in the right aspect ratio because when I drew it, I just did it in a rectangle. I didn't think of dimensions or like cut
Yeah.
sizes, and which is stupid on my part. But
What was your first time doing this? You know, you didn't know about it.
well, yeah,
Live and
yeah.
learn, as they say.
Um, but this woman who was, I guess, like a I don't, not a publisher, but an editor or something. She replied to my comment, and then I had her email, and she like helped me like along the way. Like I was bugging her every single day, like, but I can't do this. What do I do? And she told me like you got to move. Thankfully, I moved to digital because I was like against digital art for many, many, many years. But I use Procreate and draw in a way that just emulates my original, you know, paper pen style. But she was like, you have to move this text here or else it's going to get cut off when it's printed. And so thankfully I did everything in layers and I could move things. And this stranger just helped me, and I was finally able to produce the book and publish it myself on Kindle Direct. So it got made.
Yeah, that's fantastic because I know that you can buy the paperback of Bone Boy and Ghost Girl.
Yeah, but the way
And
that
give
I
it to
had
me.
the crop size that I had done it in, it wasn't available to do hardback, which was a bummer.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
definitely. It's
yeah.
cool that it's cool that it's in paperback though. It's sick.
Oh yeah, it was like when I first got the um, author copy sent to my house with like the watermark on the front saying not for sale or whatever, like just the, what do they call that,
Like the promo.
the promo, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like holding it in my hand. I was just like, oh my god, like this is my childhood dream. I'm holding a book that I wrote like and illustrated. It was really, really, really cool.
Yeah, that's sick. It's amazing. I'm happy that you were able to like have that experience and make it, you know.
I mean, I was really happy that it got done, and I was proud of it. But the whole thing was very stressful and
Oh,
heartbreaking
definitely.
with getting dropped. And I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like, but then COVID hit, and I was just kind of bored, and I made a sequel, and then another sequel. What I guess almost a year and a half ago, a Christmas, because I was like, it would be nice to give these characters like a beginning, a middle, and an end. So I thought three was a good number, and
It
I always
is.
wanted to write a Christmas book like Dr. Seuss, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and those kind of books were holiday books were always special to me, as well as I said specials are always special to me, holiday specials. But so I decided to do a Christmas one, so a Bone Boy, a Bone Boy and Ghost Girl Christmas, and I think that's actually my favorite one of the three.
I like that one. Yeah. It's cute. I watched the YouTube video that you uploaded where you like read it and it was like you were like parodying like Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
don't know.
like
I just
that.
was bored one day, and I thought to do that. I put like the VHS filter on it, and I just thought that was a funny thing to do.
No, it's like it's a comfy video, I think. It's like it's fun.
Yeah, it's like funny if you know me, but also it's like it gives that nostalgic. You remember watching that show as a kid, and it feels exactly like that, except it's me, not LeVar Burton.
Yeah. Did he die recently? No, no, I'm thinking of somebody
No,
else.
I don't think so. No, no, no.
Yeah, no, it's good though. I like it. It does have I'm up at 5 a.m. and I just turned on PBS
Right,
and I'm watching this guy tell
right.
me about these two dead kids and their dog. I like
That's
it a
great. I
lot.
love when someone describes what I was going for perfectly, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great way to say it. Yeah,
You mentioned the psychedelic furs earlier and like indie music and like wanting to go for like an indie sound. Do you have any other like or like what are some of your favorite or biggest like musical influences? Like what's some of the stuff that you were like listening to?
I think a lot of my the Ghost in You stuff, while I'm influenced by artists, it doesn't really come out in the music. Like
Mm-hmm.
because my favorite band growing up, like since I was like 12, was this band called Sunny Day Real Estate.
Oh, I love them. Yeah.
Yeah, they are like my favorite band, and Jeremy Enoch, the lead singer, his solo stuff, like just I just love that guy. I always say he's my generation's John Lennon, although like that's to people who know him, because I feel like that guy should have been huge. He should have been extremely famous. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how he wasn't. He's just incredible as an artist. So he's a Sunny Day Real Estate and Jeremy Enoch were a huge influence, which is great because actually the last show I ever played live was this this month 10 years ago. I got to open for Jeremy Enoch. Sorry,
Oh, that's
I'm drying out
fantastic.
here.
No, you're
I,
good.
I got to open for Jeremy Enoch. That was like uh, spectacular. The best last show I could ever do, and I got to like be in a green room with the guy, and like I had my picture taken with him, which I'm not normally one of those people, but I was like, I'm not just like a fan. I'm in the green room, so it's okay. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
and my mom had died less than a year earlier, and when I was going through her stuff, she had saved like all these stupid drawings and report cards and things when I was a little kid. And there was this drawing I did when I was 12 years old of Sunny Day Real Estate. And I brought that to him, and he signed it, and I like framed it with my ticket stub where my the Ghost in You with Jeremy Enick. Um, that was just like a dream come true.
Yeah, that's amazing. What year did you say that happened?
So that was 2015 was the last time I actually played a live show. It's hard when you're just a solo artist.
Yeah.
It's easier when you're in a band. You got other people helping you out, but booking yourself and finding like the type of audience when you're just an acoustic guy,
Yeah,
to fit
it's
on the
not
bill.
easy.
It's no. So, but he was definitely like my main influence, but I grew up listening to all like alternative stuff like REM, Nirvana,
Yeah.
um, all that kind of typical stuff that everyone knows. But then the more underground stuff, um, the Promise Ring, Matt Pond PA was big for me.
Mm.
I'd have to like scroll through my iPod and like look at like what I got to really think offhand. But yeah, a lot of indie stuff.
Very cool. I like. I'm stoked that you mentioned Sunny Day Real Estate because they're great. They're fantastic.
I love them.
I'm happy
I
that you
could go
got
on and
to.
on about that
I'm
guy.
happy that you got to meet him. That's amazing.
It definitely was one of the coolest moments in my life for sure.
Hell yeah. What would you say your dream project is if you had like infinite time and like money and like all of the resources that you needed to work on it?
Hmm. I guess the book was the dream project, but I think although I've pushed my hopes and dreams aside and realized the reality that I'm never going to quote make it,
Mm.
I think still in the back of my mind, my dream, my ultimate goal as a creator was always to like be able to support myself with my art. And
Mm.
I don't mean like being rich and famous. I just mean being
Just being able to pay your rent.
able to just yeah, that's it. And I, in turn that would make me feel like I made it.
Yes.
But yeah, I always wish that I could like open up for, you know, bigger artists or be like, you know, a musical guest on like, I wouldn't even go as big as Saturday Night Live, but like, a late night show or something like that. Like
Yeah.
that has always been the dream in the back of my head that I've had since I was like 11. So that would be my wish and dream.
Very relatable. Very. I understand deeply. Yeah, I'm not a very like lofty ambition type of person either. I just want to be able to do what I want to do and just pay my bills in the least annoying way possible and then just like make stuff.
Yeah.
I
Like
get it.
I wish I another one of my daydreams and wishes was just like when I'm watching a movie or a TV show, like I just wish one of my songs was in like a real production. Like I've had songs in like super, super, super indie movies
Mm.
that like six people saw, but like a real actual production,
Yeah, like a
like to have one of
movie
my
or a
songs
TV
playing in it.
episode.
Yeah, that would be so surreal. I just would love that.
If I ever get to direct a movie one day, yeah, you'll get a phone call.
Well, a lot of it, thanks. A lot of it's who you know, and actually, I wish I were better friends with him in school because maybe he would have put my stuff in his things. But I went to school with someone who went on to become a director, and he did a movie with Aubrey Plaza and Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, cool.
um, I think it was called Ingrid Goes West or
Oh, yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. I haven't seen
Yeah,
that, but
yeah,
I've seen like the poster for it. That's really cool.
yeah. He directed that, and he also does TV shows, and he did like an American Horror Story recently. And I've texted him and been like, "Hey, saw your stuff. Good job," and congratulate him. But we don't have that type of relationship where I can be like, "Dude, can you put my music in your stuff?"
I
But
get that,
which is
yeah.
funny because he actually directed my first music video for The Ghost in You, the Seahorses video.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, when he was going to film school, he wanted like what they call, I guess, like a reel or a portfolio or something. So
Mm-hmm.
it was when The Ghost in You when I first recorded my songs, started recording, and Seahorses was like one of the first songs I ever recorded. And this is going back to MySpace days.
Mm-hmm.
He's in California going to film school and heard my song on. I guess I had put it on. I don't know if you remember MySpace or if you're a little younger, but
Yeah,
um,
I remember MySpace.
yeah, you used to be able to put like a song on your profile.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I had Seahorses on mine when I released it, and he liked that, and so he came home for like winter break, and we shot a video, and he had like his animator friend. He did the animations of my characters, which like I spent like a month uh, making these huge cardboard cutouts of my characters and painting them and cutting them out. I actually used signs that Kmart was throwing out when I worked overnights at Kmart, and I painted them and cut them out. Yeah, and we set him up in the woods, and then he had his animator animate him. But anyway, he directed that video, and but I guess we just never had like a really close friendship where I could like be that annoying person to hit him up,
I,
call on him for that.
I guess it wouldn't hurt to try, but I mean, I didn't know
I
that he
think I had
directed
said
the Seaverse
before,
video.
yeah, it was like my concept, and he shot it like and directed it.
It's cool.
Yeah, so I think I had mentioned before. I was like, hey, if you ever want one of my songs in your movie, you won't even have to pay me; just put it in. But yeah, I guess I guess he just never needed it. I don't know.
Yeah. How do you feel the internet? Well, I don't know if I need to ask this question. We already kind of talked about the internet and how it's like impacted your art. Unless you feel like you have anything to add on that.
Well, the internet in itself is helpful and destructive. I think without it, my stuff wouldn't reach as far as it has, even though I have a very small audience as it is. I think without it, people in New Zealand obviously wouldn't be messaging me and saying, I'm their favorite artist or whatever. But I also think that it's hurt it because there's just such an oversaturation of talent out there that it's hard to get noticed. Like you said, your friend or whoever said the message in a bottle thing.
Yeah.
It's like maybe I could have broken in easier just by word of mouth or playing shows if there was no social media or internet, but also maybe I wouldn't have even reached the amount of people that I have at this point. So it's hard to tell. So it's kind of, I guess I would choose to have it as a creator, but I also miss the days when it didn't exist.
Yeah, I understand. Do you ever still play video games? I assume you like the older Nintendo stuff, considering you grew up in the '80s and you did have a DSi for the Flipno videos. But is there anything like recently you've been playing? And also, what is your favorite video game, if you have a favorite?
So I'm not a hardcore gamer, but I am a loyal and faithful Nintendo guy.
Okay.
I obviously grew up with NES and Super Nintendo, which is why I love the DS, because it's like basically like a handheld Super
It
Nintendo.
really is,
Um,
yeah.
I think if I had to choose a system, even though I would want to like play whatever system I choose on like a television set, I think the DS is probably my favorite system. But I have this Switch. I've had every system except for the GameCube was the only one I never got.
Hmm.
I don't have them anymore because once I got the new one, I usually just trade it. I have the Wii because I have someone hacked like the old Nintendo and Super Nintendo games onto it, so I can
Oh,
play them on the
hell yeah,
TV.
dude. Yeah, the Wii is
Yeah,
amazing
it's
for that.
awesome. So I have the Switch, and now I'm kind of bummed because I had to get the motherboard replaced because I had violated Nintendo's
Piracy
rules and
thing.
restrictions. Yeah, because I was like, oh, it's cool having the games on the Wii. Maybe I'll get them on the Switch, and had this like nerd, hack onto it, and I guess I connected to the internet or did something where Nintendo
They
was
got
aware of it and
alerted.
they blocked. Yeah, so anyway, I had the motherboard replaced recently, and it was like $150, and now I'm regretting that because I'm probably just gonna end up buying the Switch too.
Yeah,
Um,
did you see the announcements yesterday?
I watched because I went on to play Mario Kart last night, and the Nintendo Direct was on there for it. So I was like, let me check this out. I didn't watch the whole hour and a half thing, but I
Yeah.
skipped through and yeah, it just bums me out because it's I don't think there's enough new things about it to warrant a new system. But now I'm gonna be like, well, I'm gonna need Mario Kart, the new one, so I guess I have to buy a Nintendo Switch too. And you have to like reserve it, so I'm just gonna wait until like it's
Just wait
available
till it's
in
like in
stores.
stores, yeah.
Yeah. But to go back to your question, I love anything Mario.
Okay.
I'm more as much as I loved Mario 64, like when that came out, that was like groundbreaking, like,
Mm-hmm.
blew my mind. And I beat the game and everything like that. I'm more uh, interested in side scrollers and those types of old school kind of games. Um, I got Mario Odyssey thinking I was gonna love it, but I didn't really like that much.
I wasn't that big on it either, actually.
Yeah, I just thought it looked really cool, but it didn't. It seemed like too much. Like I was like, there's too much to do. Like I don't know.
It's
I loved Mario
overwhelming.
Galaxy. Yeah, Mario Galaxy 2 was like so fucking good. Um,
Yes. Yes, it
I
was.
love that. Um, but if I had to choose, I just like the like little side scroll Mario. Little
Yeah, the eight
Yoshi's
bit stuff.
Island.
Oh, Yoshi's Island is so good. That's one of my favorites.
Yoshi's and I didn't realize there was because I'm a very casual gamer. Like when a new Mario game comes out, I buy it, I play it for a little while, and I tend to play more in the summer months and in the winter months, like Christmas, because I guess it reminds me when I was a kid on Christmas break or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I started recently playing Mario Kart again because when I got the new motherboard, all my save data was deleted. So I was like, I guess I got to beat these fucking levels again. So I've been playing that recently, and I am so out of touch with what's out there in the gaming world. I didn't realize there was a new uh, patch of Mario Kart game levels that came out like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, yeah, there was.
And I don't like downloading stuff. I like to physically have it. But that was the only way you could get those new levels. So I downloaded that like 3 weeks ago. So I've been playing those new levels and going back to Yoshi's Island. There's a Yoshi's Island inspired level, and it was really really fun to play that level.
Oh, I love
But
that. I love that.
yeah,
I haven't played the new Mario Kart, or the most
Mario
recent
Kart.
Mario Kart. Yeah, the Mario Kart 8. I haven't really played it that much.
Oh no, it's. I mean, it's great, but it's also lazy because it was from the Wii U.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
it
it wasn't
was.
even a new. Like why couldn't they just come out with a new whatever? Um, but the download has like 48 more tracks, so it's essentially like
It's kind of like a
another
new,
Mario Kart.
yeah, like a new game.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing those new levels, and I'm only in the 50cc because I just started playing. I wish you could like beat them in 200cc and get 3 stars, and then that would make the 150 and the 50 3 stars. Like, why do you have to go through it all?
You got to do
Like,
all of them.
obviously, yeah, because obviously, if you can beat it in a 200cc, then that means you could beat it in 50cc. So why do you have to do it? But whatever. Um, yeah, I love Mario, Super Nintendo, all those older type games. So yeah,
Nice.
that's where my bread and butter is. Those Mario old school kind of games.
I was a Nintendo guy growing up. Also, yeah, a Nintendo kid. I liked Mario and Kirby, and
Yeah, like Kirby. Yeah,
I love Kirby. Yeah, and I liked Sonic a
Mega
lot.
Man.
Mega Man and Sonic. Yeah,
I
those are one
never
of my
really liked
favorites.
Sonic. I wanted to like Sonic. Like I liked the music and the character was cute and
Hmm.
everything. But I just never could get into it. But
Going
yeah,
fast is
Donkey
hard.
Kong.
I love
Yeah,
Donkey Kong.
yeah.
The new Donkey Kong
Donkey
game
Kong's great.
looks really cool that they showed yesterday.
It's more like a Mario 64 one, right? Like
Yeah,
more open
yeah.
world.
That looks more
Yeah.
fun to me than Mario Odyssey even. We'll see how it is, I guess. But it looks great.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess you mentioned earlier that you're working on an album right now. Other than that,
Well,
like what do you
casually working on it.
casually like, when you have time and when you feel inspired
Right.
and stuff. What else do you think is next for you? Like what else is on the horizon for the Ghost in You?
I mean, honestly, because of what I was mentioning before about how like I'll make a piece of art or a song and it barely gets any views. Like I had come to the conclusion that I was basically just done as a musician and creator because it's just so disheartening. But I guess it just turns out that whenever I'm super super bored or inspired, that art will come out of me. I just don't have like a schedule of when that is.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't tell you what my next thing is. I guess I just hope to eventually have a fourth album, and that would probably be my last album as
Mm-hmm.
The Ghost in You. Which I just need 2 more songs. I know it sounds like a little, but
No, it's a
that could
lot.
be that could be another 2-3 years. I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
Um, but I I thought maybe doing another children's book would be cool, but maybe with different characters. I have like this short story about a vampire that I wrote in high school that I was trying to like branch off of that idea. Um, but I don't know. I mean, it all depends when I'm inspired and feel like I'm gonna be creative, but I couldn't tell you what the next project is.
Hmm.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, definitively. I'm happy that I'm happy that you are like to hear that you are working on another album when you have the time and when you have like the inspiration. And another children's book could be really fun. Could be like a I think like I wanted to laugh earlier when you said that like I'm fucking done. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a creator or artist anymore. But then like it happens. Like you don't have really a choice. It's in you.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. It
relate.
is.
I
It really is.
understand. Yeah. I've had a lot of moments like over the years I've been making stuff as well where I feel like I'm like I'm making this and then I'm fucking off and I'm not making anything ever again. And then like it just you can't help it. Like it just
Hmm.
you've got that dog in you, as they say. Like it's just in you. You gotta make stuff. I think
The
that
ghost in
is
you.
the ghost in you. You've got that ghost in you. Exactly.
Right.
I think that's part of I think that's something that like attracts me to your work so much because I think it's something that you can that feels palpable to me. Like when you're listening to your music or you're looking at like the animations that you do or the videos that you filmed, like I do sense like that there's a passion there, that there is like a drive to make things and to like be heard and stuff that I find compelling and magnetic. Um, I don't think there's like one thing that you do or one thing about your art that feels that way, but it's like just as a whole, like it feels that way. And I think other like minded people, you know, the more time that your art exists, like on the internet or on a cassette tape in a store or anything, like the longer it exists, the longer people will have the chance to come and see it and experience it and appreciate it for like what it is, I guess.
Thanks, man. It's nice way to say it, to hear that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate it.
I left a comment on one of your videos a while ago. I think it was the music video for the when our bedrooms were once haunted song. And I left you like a comment that was like I've loved this for a really long time. Thank you for making it. And I remember you responded and it was a similar comment like yeah, thank you for saying that. That's very nice of you to say and I appreciate it. And but it is hard to make things when you feel like nobody gives a shit, when you feel like you're making
Absolutely.
stuff
Yeah.
quietly. And um yeah, I tried to be like encouraging in my response there. And I just yeah, I love what you do, and I think there's a lot of value in it, and I think that
Thanks,
there's a
man.
lot of yeah, yeah. I just wanted to give you that kind of like I don't know feedback or or whatever.
And I mean, it's funny when I get those random comments because I'll try to reply to any comment that I get, especially if it's complimentary.
Hmm.
It's like it's weird. Like they make me feel good and they also make me feel shitty because it's like, how can my music and art touch this person so deeply, but yet I still can't get like 20 views on a fucking video or something like so it's like a double-edged sword.
Hmm.
While I really appreciate it, it also just makes the reality more that I'm never gonna make it that much more real. But I mean, they do mean a lot to me and I I can't say I specifically remember the comment you left, but when you left your most recent one talking to me, asking if I would be interviewed, I looked at your channel and my YouTube view history, I had viewed some of your videos. So the only way I would have come to you is if I had gone to your profile from when you commented, those
Oh
years
yeah.
ago.
Hmm.
So, um, yeah, so it means a lot. And I just got a comment on Monday. I woke up to like my email alert because I get notifications when I get comments.
Hmm.
it was somebody saying like, "Hey, I'm going through a really bad divorce, and like your music saved my life." Like I was just like, "Wow!" Like
Holy shit, yeah.
that is that's heavy, you know. Like I
Yeah.
can't believe like me, this indie artist, virtually unknown artist creator, still somehow, and this goes back to why I guess I would choose to have the internet, like still somehow reach this person, and like this person wakes up and when they go to put on music chooses me as what they're going to listen to. Like that's a powerful thing to think of. Like, you know, when I go on and drive the kids to school in the van and put my iPod on and select my favorite band, you know, or artist, like someone's doing that for me. As little known as I am, there are still people out there who are doing that for me, and that's really neat to think of.
It is, yeah. I think I feel the same way about the internet with like all of the criticisms and issues I have with it and how fucking it's destroying people's brains. On the
Mm-hmm.
whole, I've seen so much incredible stuff because of it. I mean, I found your art. I've read so many books that I found on the internet. I've listened to so many albums that I found on the internet. I've met so many
And made
incredibly kind
friends,
people.
made a
Made
lot of friends.
friends. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's
Most of my friends are digital and they don't live anywhere near me, you know?
same. Yeah, me too. Especially now that I just moved and I don't know anybody in the new city that I live in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no, all my friends are on the computer.
I think the internet, while is evil and made people terrible, it has a good intent. It
Yeah.
just, I think, was used for evil.
I think I agree with you. Yeah. I think that's all the questions that I had written down and um yeah, that I think that's basically it. Do you have anything that you'd like to say to anybody that might be listening to this right now?
I guess if you have no idea who the fuck you're listening to and you want to check me out, um, while my website sucks, you know, it's a self-made website that looks terrible in mobile version. The web version looks okay. Just I would just say go to my website, theghostinyou.net, and you know you can stream and download my music. You can see my art. You know, it'll get you to any area of where I am. Like I'm mostly active on my Instagram. Um, I recently changed the name when I realized that it used to be called The Ghost in You Music, and I always hated that name, but I had to add the word music on the end because somebody already had The Ghost in You. But when I realized I'm not even a musician anymore. Why is this my name? So I changed it recently. Um, it's called The Gathering of, I think, is it The Gathering of the Ghosts or The Gathering of Ghosts? I always forget. But anyway, I think it's The Gathering of Ghosts. Um, that's my Instagram, theghostinyou.net. You can find anything through there. My books are on Amazon, but everything can be found through my website, theghostinyou.net.
Well, thank you for like having this conversation with me and for hanging out and talking about the stuff that you make and giving me, you know, a couple hours of your time this morning. I appreciate it very much.
And I appreciate you asking me and, you know, giving me a little uh, ego boost in the sense of as a creator, like, you know, this guy wants to talk to me, so I guess I'm doing something that people care about.
Absolutely, yeah.